The sun cast soft golden rays through the trees, creating patterns of light and shadow on the forest floor. Disciples sat quietly, their robes blending with the earth's calm tones. As the Buddha prepared to speak, a gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming jasmine, filling the air with tranquility and grace. A young man named Ananda stood, his hands trembling as he addressed the Buddha with a wavering voice. "Master," Ananda began, "I feel as though I am not good enough to be loved by others." His eyes filled with pain, as though he carried the burden of 1,000 silent doubts. The Buddha gazed at him with compassion, his face a serene reflection of boundless understanding. "Ananda," the Buddha said softly, "let us journey together into the nature of your heart and the essence of love." The disciples leaned forward, their breaths synchronized, as the Buddha continued his teachings with gentle authority. "There was once a man," the Buddha began, "who lived by the edge of a vast and quiet lake." His voice resonated like a soothing stream, drawing the disciples into the story's unfolding path. This man believed he was unworthy of love, just as a dry leaf believes it cannot return to spring. The Buddha gestured to the ground, where fallen leaves rested in peaceful decay, absorbed by the earth's embrace. Each day, the man would sit by the lake, watching its surface ripple under the sky's ever-changing mood. His words painted vivid images that seemed to breathe life into the quiet stillness of the moment. He felt as though the reflections on the water held secrets he could not reach, truths he could not grasp. Ananda nodded slightly, his brow furrowed as he listened intently to each deliberate and compassionate word. One day, the Buddha said, a wise woman approached the lake, her steps as gentle as the wind's touch. The disciples exchanged glances, their curiosity ignited by the promise of a lesson hidden within the tale. The woman carried a small mirror, polished to perfection, which she placed carefully on the ground beside her. The Buddha paused, allowing the weight of the story to settle in the minds of those who listened. She turned to the man and said, "Look into this mirror and tell me what you see, dear one." Ananda's breath caught as the story unfolded, its simplicity resonating deeply with the unspoken doubts within him. The man hesitated, for he feared that the mirror would reveal his flaws, his fears, his perceived inadequacies. The Buddha's voice grew softer, his words tender yet unyielding as they carried the truth of the tale. "I see a face worn by doubt," the man admitted, his voice heavy with the burden of years spent in isolation. The disciples sat motionless, their hearts aligning with the rhythm of the story's quiet revelations. The wise woman smiled gently and said, "This mirror reflects not only your face but the essence of your being." Ananda tilted his head slightly, as though the truth within the story began to unfold before him like a lotus flower. The man's hands trembled as he held the mirror, the sunlight casting fragmented rainbows across its polished surface. The Buddha's words echoed like ripples expanding outward, touching each heart with the gift of understanding. "Love," the woman continued, "is not granted based on perfection but on the acceptance of oneself as a whole." The disciples inhaled deeply, as though the weight of these words lightened the burdens carried within their own hearts. The man began to see not his flaws but the intricate dance of light and shadow that shaped his being. Ananda closed his eyes for a moment, his expression softening as he absorbed the essence of the Buddha's teachings. The mirror became a symbol, not of vanity but of reflection, a reminder of the interconnected nature of existence. The Buddha placed his hands on his knees, his gaze serene as he paused to let the story's wisdom take root. "Ananda," the Buddha said, his voice unwavering, "you are not separate from the love that permeates the universe." The disciples nodded subtly, their eyes reflecting the depth of the truths revealed in the quiet light of understanding. "Your worth is not defined by external measures but by the boundless essence of your spirit, connected to all things." Ananda wiped a tear that slipped down his cheek, his heart swelling with a newfound sense of belonging. Love does not discriminate, the Buddha concluded, for it sees not the ripples on the surface but the infinite depth beneath. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm hues across the forest, as though the earth itself embraced the teachings. Silence enveloped the disciples, a silence not of absence but of presence. As they contemplated the Buddha's words, the young man Ananda bowed deeply, his gesture a silent acknowledgement of the truths that had begun to heal his heart. "Thank you, Master," he whispered, his voice steady yet filled with the quiet tremor of emotion. The Buddha smiled, his presence radiating the peaceful assurance of one who has seen beyond the illusion of separateness. "May each of you," the Buddha said, "find the mirror within, reflecting the unbroken thread of love and worth." The disciples sat motionless, their hearts illuminated by the light of understanding that transcended the boundaries of words. The forest seemed to breathe in harmony with their silent contemplation, as though nature itself bore witness to the lesson. Slowly, the gathering began to disband, yet the teachings lingered, like the echo of a melody that remains after silence falls. Ananda walked with deliberate steps, his gaze steady, his heart no longer burdened by the shadows of doubt. The Buddha's teachings had become a part of him, not as an external truth but as an awakening of his inner self. The sun set behind the horizon, its final rays illuminating the path ahead, where light and shadow danced as one. Another day dawned, the sun painting the horizon with soft hues as the disciples gathered beneath the ancient banyan tree. The air carried the fragrance of fresh blossoms, mingling with the whispers of the morning breeze among the leaves. The Buddha sat in tranquil stillness, his presence anchoring the group with an unspoken assurance of wisdom. A man named Ravi approached, his expression weighed by uncertainty, his steps hesitant as though held back by invisible chains. "Master," Ravi said, his voice low, "I feel disconnected, as though I lack purpose and cannot give or receive love." The Buddha regarded him with serene compassion, his eyes reflecting the depth of understanding that transcended mere words. "Ravi," the Buddha began gently, "let us unravel this knot within you through the story of the weaver's thread." The disciples sat silently, their anticipation a quiet ripple in the ocean of peace surrounding the gathering. "There was a weaver," the Buddha began, "whose thread was simple and unadorned, yet it held the world together." His voice resonated like the gentle hum of the loom, drawing the disciples into the unfolding tapestry of the tale. The weaver believed his work was insignificant, for he saw only the plain thread and not the fabric it created. The Buddha's hands rested on his lap, still as the air before a summer storm. As he continued the story, one day, a traveler visited the weaver's village, wearing a cloak that shimmered like sunlight on water. Ravi leaned forward, his breath steadying as he immersed himself in the narrative's quiet revelations and hidden truths. The traveler praised the weaver, saying, "Your thread, though unseen, has woven the warmth that shields me from the cold." The disciples exchanged glances, their eyes widening as they recognized the wisdom woven into the seemingly simple tale. The weaver looked at his hands, worn and calloused, and began to see their labor in a new light. Ravi's gaze softened, the rigid lines of doubt in his face beginning to loosen under the weight of the Buddha's words. "Love," the Buddha continued, "is like the thread, essential yet often hidden, its presence felt through the connections it creates." The disciples nodded slightly, the resonance of these words awakening a shared understanding within the circle of seekers. The weaver's thread binds not only fabric but also hearts, for its strength lies in its unbroken continuity. Ravi wiped his brow with trembling hands, as though the story's wisdom had begun to weave itself into his being. The traveler left, carrying the warmth of the weaver's thread, unaware of the weaver's initial doubts about his worth. The Buddha's voice grew softer, yet it retained the power to illuminate the darkest corners of the human heart. Ravi, you too are a thread in the vast tapestry of existence. Unseen perhaps, but indispensable in its weave. The disciples sat in stillness, their spirits absorbing the depth of the truth as it settled like sunlight on still waters. To doubt your worth is to forget the connections your existence fosters. The love you give and receive unconditionally. Ravi closed his eyes, allowing the Buddha's words to seep into the fabric of his thoughts, mending the frayed edges within. The weaver realized, the Buddha concluded, that his thread was not just thread but life itself, intertwined with the infinite. The banyan tree's leaves rustled softly, as if nature itself bore witness to the timeless wisdom unfolding beneath its shade. Ravi bowed deeply, his heart no longer burdened by the illusion of separateness, his spirit beginning to find solace. Master, he said, his voice steady yet filled with quiet emotion, your words have touched a thread within me long forgotten. The Buddha smiled gently, his gaze a silent affirmation of the truth that Ravi had begun to uncover within himself. Each of you, the Buddha said, addressing the disciples, is both weaver and thread, shaping and being shaped by love's infinite fabric. The disciples sat motionless, their breaths synchronized, their hearts united by the shared illumination of understanding. The morning sun climbed higher, its light filtering through the leaves to create intricate patterns on the forest floor. Ravi walked away from the gathering, his steps deliberate, his presence radiating a quiet assurance born of newfound clarity. The Buddha's teachings lingered in the air, not as mere words but as an awakening to the unspoken truths of existence. The weaver's thread, though simple and unadorned, had become a symbol of love's silent and enduring strength. Each disciple carried the story within them, a gentle reminder of their place in the boundless tapestry of life. Another day, the forest basked in golden light as birds sang their melodies, filling the air with soothing harmony. The disciples gathered once more, their faces serene yet eager to hear the Buddha's words of wisdom. A young woman named Maya approached, her hands clasped together, her gaze heavy with an inner turmoil she could not name. Master, Maya began, her voice barely audible, I wish to believe in my worth, but doubt consumes me in silence. The Buddha's gaze softened as he gestured for Maya to sit among the disciples, his calm presence quieting her trembling heart. Maya, the Buddha said gently, let us explore the nature of doubt and the clarity that lies beyond its ripples. The disciples leaned forward, their breaths steady and synchronized, as the Buddha's voice began to weave its quiet truths. There is a lake, the Buddha began, hidden deep within the mountains, its waters so clear they reflect the heavens above. Maya's lips parted slightly, the imagery of the lake drawing her mind into the story's unfolding depths. Yet, when winds disturb its surface, the reflection trembles, distorting the clarity that once mirrored the eternal sky. His words resonated through the stillness, touching each heart with a gentle echo of recognition and understanding. A traveler once reached this lake, weary and burdened, seeking solace in its stillness and answers within its reflection. The disciples exchanged glances, their eyes alight with curiosity as they pondered the wisdom nestled within the tale. As the traveler gazed into the water, a sudden wind rippled the surface, and the sky's reflection blurred. Maya nodded slightly, her expression softening as she connected the lake's ripples to the restless doubts within her heart. The traveler despaired, believing the clarity was lost forever. Unable to see beyond the disturbance of the moment, the Buddha's voice grew softer, each word carefully chosen, as though he were offering the traveler's journey as a gift to them all. Then, an elder approached and said, "Be still, dear traveler, for the winds pass, and the lake remembers its nature." The disciples inhaled deeply, the elder's words resonating with a timeless truth that transcended the boundaries of time and place. The traveler sat by the lake, their breath steadying, their heart calming, as they waited for the surface to grow still. Maya's hands loosened, her shoulders relaxing, as though she too felt the lake's tranquility washing over her soul. When the wind ceased, the lake returned to its perfect reflection, the clarity undiminished by the passing ripples. The Buddha's gaze met Maya's, his eyes reflecting the stillness of the lake and the wisdom of the story. Maya, your heart is like the lake, vast and deep, its essence untouched by the fleeting ripples of doubt. The disciples closed their eyes, letting the Buddha's words seep into their beings, like sunlight absorbed into the roots of trees. Doubt, though it disturbs, cannot change the nature of who you are, just as the wind cannot alter water. Maya wiped a tear from her cheek, her heart lightening as she embraced the truth that had long eluded her grasp. The elder told the traveler, "Remember the stillness within you, and you will see the truth beyond the ripples." The Buddha's words lingered in the air, a quiet reminder of the strength that lies in stillness and self-awareness. Maya, when doubt arises, do not fight it but observe it, knowing that it will pass like a fleeting breeze. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the disciples absorbing the timeless wisdom like leaves soaking in the morning dew. Love and worth are not diminished by doubt, they remain, as the lake's clarity remains beneath the wind's touch. Maya bowed deeply, her heart swelling with gratitude as though a weight she had long carried had been lifted. "Thank you, Master," she whispered, her voice steady yet tinged with the quiet tremor of profound understanding. The Buddha smiled, his presence radiating a serene assurance that seemed to echo through the trees and sky above. "Each of you," the Buddha said, his voice gentle yet resonant, "carries within you the stillness that holds the truth of your worth." The disciples sat in stillness, their hearts united by the awakening to the boundless clarity that lies beyond the ripples of doubt. The sunlight filtered through the trees, its golden rays illuminating the forest floor, as though nature itself celebrated the lesson. Maya walked away with deliberate steps, her spirit unburdened, her heart embracing the stillness that had always been within her. The Buddha's words lingered in the air, not as mere teachings but as a mirror reflecting the unchanging essence of love. The ripples in the lake of her heart began to settle, revealing a reflection of truth that had always been there. The disciples departed one by one, carrying the Buddha's words like a quiet melody echoing in the chambers of their souls. During my travels, I encountered a farmer named Javaka, who was burdened by his relentless attachment to his land. Buddha paused, allowing his words to settle in the minds of his disciples. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.